This is the Bible of the electrogenic cell. It's not just the best book ever written on the subject, it's the only book ever written on this subject. Brought to you by supporters of Christ.
All right, so Hulk Hogan, right? Hulk Hogan passed. Hulk Hogan passed from his heart, right? Heart disease. Even though I'm not fully sure we can call Hulk Hogan passing heart disease. Right? Hulk Hogan lived till just close to life expectancy. He made it to his 70s. And he probably put at least 300 years worth of living on that heart. Yeah, he probably put about 300 years worth of living on that heart. But most people won't be lucky as Hulk Hogan. Most people won't be lucky as me. Most people, your heart stops, it doesn't start again. Most people don't have the warnings, right? You don't get the warnings. You don't have the money, right? You don't have the money. So the main thing I want to discuss though, so shout out to Hulk Hogan, you know, a legend for some of us in that age group, right? A legend for some of us in that age group. And then, obviously let Hulk Hogan be a precautionary. It's hard for me to even frame Hulk Hogan as a precautionary tale though, because Hulk Hogan did every kind of drug and steroid and just everything that you could do that you're not supposed to do. And, he still got to be famous and die in his 70s. And, just so many of us, I have personal friends that, they died in their 30s. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have friends that died as teenagers, but I mean, from their heart stopping. I have a lot of friends that didn't see 40. I have a lot of friends that didn't see 40, and even more friends that died in their early 40s. So hopefully we get to combat, a lot of those things with the information and the outreach, the missionary work that we should be doing right now, which leads me to the syllabus and the main reason we're going to have this very short video tonight to kind of line up what it is that we're going to be doing, and then, just kind of stamp it, because from the last couple of days, I feel like I was confusing for some people on our last stream. Right? I feel like I was confusing for some people. So we were doing two things. We were getting the weekly schedule, and then I was also asking people about actual holidays, right? Actual holidays, because over the last 2 decades, right? Over the last 2 decades, I could actually say three, but I don't want to go into bias conversations, but definitely over the last 2 decades, we've been kind of, without even knowing, without even paying, without purposeful attention, we've been building our own culture. I would say the last, you know, the COVID era, we kind of been much more purposeful about it, culminating in comedic naturopathy and inspiration, right? Um, Beginning obviously with, melanin versus diabetes, right? So those three, more focused movements have just put a spotlight on the need for us to replace things like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Valentine's Day, all of these different, and not necessarily replace in the way of like the attempt at what Kwanzaa, like at what Kwanzaa was for Christmas, right? But just in terms of the entire calendar, right? The entire calendar of holidays, like the yearly holidays. So that has delayed the book, just finalizing a year's worth of dates. And obviously with inspiration, we don't block any blessings, any love, any rituals, or any, so it's not like if you're a part of inspiration, you cannot participate in Halloween or Christmas or whatever the case you got going, whatever Hanukkah or, Rosh Hashanah or Lent or whatever, Ramadan or whatever you got going on. It's just lining up what is lining up the year over year so that we can build and create our own rituals. Now, in the microscopic space, lining up the week, right? So this week is the first week that we're actually instituting our pre-programmed, pre-scheduled, right? So Monday and Wednesday are kind of like off days, which we still probably have some classes and some videos on those days, but maybe not, right? It might just be, research, like just working offline kind of days. Tuesday is medicine day, right? That has become like, that's Tuesday has become my Monday. In my personal universe, Tuesday has become my Monday. Like I reset my week around Tuesday. So we have medicine. That's not on YouTube though. That is on Kick and Twitter, right? Then Thursday nights at 7, Friday nights at 10. Then still kind of up in the air with Saturday and Sunday. But I think we're working on 12 noon, right? Because the idea is I want you guys to be able to put all of this stuff into your, like plug this all into your cell phone. So that way it's much more, right? Now, in terms of the material and the conversation, right? In terms of the material and the conversation, right? Of course, of course, we're going to be working through all of the books. All of the books. All of the books. But we're going to have days dedicated to more primary study. So that way we'll have a much more focus, because I've spoken to a few people that, yo, we need more focus in this area, or we still need you to go back into workbook number 7 in Kemetic, or it's a lot of material, right? So being able to structure out the week will give us the ability to knock that out. So Thursdays are typically going to be Kemetic naturopathy. Not today, obviously, because we're having this little, this orientation. That's what I should have put the title of this. Should have been orientation, right? But Thursday is going to be Kemetic naturopathy. Right? And so we're liable to be studying anything on Thursday, right? All of the books, like, technically fall under, Kemetic science in one shape, form, or fashion. Like, so Thursday, we're liable to be going in on anything. Friday, degree work. There are 12 degrees, right? There are 12 degrees. American Healer Volume 1 has 3 degrees in it, right? This book is about 300, a little over 300 pages, and it has 3 degrees in it. Then, on top of that, you have you got electrician. Hold on. Because I got a few questions about this week as well. So I figured it would be smart for us to have a simple, So you have the American Healer book, Volume 1. And then you have these 3 books. These 3 books go with this book. Right? These 3 books go with this book, because this book has all 3 degrees in it. And then these 3 books are study guides, right? So you have electrician degree 1, 2, and 3. The first degree, the second degree, and the third degree are all in this book. Right? So these 4 books are the first, second, and third electrician degrees. Right? Then you have excuse me. My favorite book bag, Melanin Verse Diabetes, Defund Diabetes. Right? Book bags like this is back to school time. Book bags like this are on the website. Okay? But then you have American Healer Volume 2, right? American Healer Volume 2 has the engineer degrees in it. Yeah, these are the engineer degrees. There are 7 degrees of human engineering. 7 degrees of human engineering, right? All 7 human engineering degrees are in this book, and then it has one study guide to go along with it, right? So you have American Healer Volume 2, and then you have the Temple Engineer degree, right? So this is the next 7 degrees. So after you get first, second, third degree electrician, then you can move on to engineer studies, right? Human engineering, right? So 7 plus 3, that is 10. Then you have, now mind you, this is all going to be what we work on Fridays. It's going to be dedicated to Fridays. We'll probably peek into the American Healer books outside of Friday, but pretty much the seminary books are going to be just Friday night study, right? Then we have the Temple Architect degree. The architect degree is dedicated to mastering the codex, right? So that in total is 11 degrees. And then you have a 12th degree, which you can kind of work on at any time. The 12th degree is broken up throughout a bunch of different books. Books like this. Books like this, right? The Fishers of Men books. This is book 1, just in case you didn't know. This is book 2, which comes in a giveaway format, and then also the teacher's edition, right? But these books have a dialogue, or not a dialogue, a series of dialogues for you to learn, practice, and be able to package inspiration so that you can have conversations every day in the real world, not on the internet, in the real world, and introduce this conversation to people, right? So that is a degree that is not done in any particular order, right? The other degrees, the 11 degrees, have to be done in order. You can study them in any kind of fashion, but it is easiest to study them electrician, first degree, then second, then third, then start over, engineer 1, engineer 2, engineer 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? It's easiest to do that, right? You need to get those in order. But in terms of everyday conversations with people, you can do that at any time, right? That is a totally separate degree. And like I said, we actually have degrees. So we will be doing tests. Now, because the questions, the answers, the studies, all in books, and some of the stuff, like if it's a science fact, right, it's Googleable, right? So there's no way for me to like send you a written test. And then for the Patreon people, I'm sending y'all question and answer study guides, keynotes, and stuff like that. Like, so it would make no sense. It wouldn't prove anything by me having you do like a written test. That wouldn't make any sense, right? So to actually get your degree to be tested, it's live, right? It's not live on the internet, right? It's not live on the internet, but it is live, like Zoom or StreamYard. Like when you're ready, you're gonna hit me up and schedule your live test. You can take the test as many times you want. I don't have a limit on that. So there's no, oh man, you failed the test, you can't do it again. No, you just give yourself another few weeks or a month or so and try again, right? But yeah, it's a live conversation, and I need to be able to see you. I have to be able to see you, right? Not just a live conversation over the phone. I have to be able to see you. I have to be able to ask you questions and see your response, right? So it's not just a matter of memorizing, you know, how many days in a season in Kemet? 120 days. Like, it's not like rote memorization. That's a part of it. That's a part of it. But I need to see you answer. Right? I need to see you answer, so I know you're not using the Google demons, the Google angels, right? Or AI, or just opening up the book or whatever. I need to just know what you have on tap. And there's no percentage to pass. So it's not a matter of me asking you 20 questions and you got, 16 right is the passing score and that's the grade. No, it's just pass or fail. And technically, I could ask you 20 questions and you can get 10 of them wrong and still pass, right? I can ask you 20 questions. I can ask you 20 questions and you can get 19 of them right and still fail, right? And still fail. So it's not a set. It's not that. I'm looking for something. I have to see that you've been, like, you're proficient in the studies. That's all I'm looking for, is you to be proficient in the study. So, you could get half the questions wrong and still pass. You can get most of the questions right and still fail, right? You have to just really have it in your heart. You have to know the information by heart. That's what we're looking for, right? So the Fishers of Men book is obviously books designed to help you do what? Be fishers of men. And so that is the 12th degree, right? The 12th degree is learning to have that as a skill, to be able to stop somebody on the bus, on the train, in the supermarket, in the gym, and have a conversation and be able to inspire them to inspiration. Now, Saturday, current events, right? So current events could be stuff that's happening on the fly throughout the week, or it could just have, it could be, you know, our bioelectric, our bioelectric, our world that we, so current has, it's an entendre, current events. Sunday is Sunday school. That is our main day. That's our main day, right? So if we have a long class, like, that's probably going to be it. if we got to go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, it's probably going to be on Sunday, right? Where we go crazy. And then all of the books obviously are open Saturday. All of the books are open Sunday. We're narrowing down the information for Thursdays to stick particularly with, comedic science and, our specific mathematics that we've been developing, that we also need to, I guess we already have a name, divine mathematics. So yeah, Thursdays will be comedic science and divine mathematics. All right, so hopefully that is a good layout. Now, so far in the kitchen chemistry book, we have over 100 foods that we're breaking down. We have over 100 foods that we're breaking down individually. Over 100 foods that we're breaking down individually. Right, so we're going further off the deep end in kitchen chemistry. Since everybody loved the first one so much, if you don't have kitchen chemistry, go to Amazon, add it to your cart, check out. Right, but we're breaking down over 100 different foods, and we're going all the way in. When I say all the way in, I mean we're going all the way in terms of disease, biochemical cascade, like the whole 9 yards. So you'll start to build a codex in your mind of information surrounding food that it doesn't even exist for anybody else on earth. Period. And I think that level of science is what we need to couple with inspiration, right? The people that are inspired need to have a superior level of understanding to nutrition, a superior level of understanding to where, nobody. I'm talking about gurus, geeks, health enthusiasts, PhDs, MDs, like you need a superior just to represent, to say that we're quantumly entangled with the source, right? Just to be able to represent, okay, we're talking about being quantumly entangled with the source. And so we have to have a deeper level of understanding with nutrition. So we have over 100 foods, and we it's only a space for 100. We over 100,000 words in the book. So kitchen chemistry, number 3, book. I've already began working on kitchen chemistry number 3, just because there's stuff that can't fit in number 2. Right, but we have over 100 different foods that we're breaking down. And of course, number 7 is the number, right? 7.365, 7 systems in the body, right? So because we have the 7 systems of the body, 7.365 is the magic number that links our body with the universe and all of the good, the divine mathematics by now, right? But we're holding that, as our principle in terms of how we're approaching each food, right? So with each food, we're going. Let me see here. Let me grab one. All right, so we're going macronutrient, right? We're going macronutrient, which is pretty much where all of your internet gurus and muscle bound, like all of those folks are at. Pretty much they're going to be at the level 1 understanding of food, right? So that's macro, right? Then we're going into level 2, right? Level 2 is molecular digestion, right? So that is a level where, if you've ever heard the saying, put the women and children to bed, you know what I'm saying? And go looking for that. Like that's where you separate the enthusiasts and the internet gurus from like maybe like your health professionals, right? So, second level is molecular digestion. The third level is biochemical pathways, right? That's where we begin to separate ourselves, right? So the third level is biochemical pathways.
This is the Bible of the electrogenic cell. It's not just the best book ever written on the subject, it's the only book ever written on this subject. Brought to you by supporters of Christ.
So we go on biochemical pathways, and then from biochemical pathways, we're translating the biochemical and molecular digestion to cellular and genetic effects, right? What are the living effects of, like still in the science bag, but like more like, what does this do for, like bringing you back to the surface, kind of cellular and genetic effects. Like, what is this doing overall, right?
This is the Bible of the electrogenic cell. It's not just the best book ever written on the subject, it's the only book ever written on this subject. Brought to you by supporters of Christ.
Right. And then level 5, when we get to level 5, it is disease pathway modulation, right? Disease pathway modulation. How this item, its macronutrients, etc., affect, cause, retard, reverse, stop, heal, accelerate, but just the effects that it has on illnesses or lack thereof, right? Because sometimes having a thing is healing, right? But sometimes something is so important to our body that just not having it is disease forming, right? So that's level 5. And then level 6 is therapeutic application, right? Like what your health professional, like medical, if you will, right? Um, but medical is for medicine, right? So we're going to say therapeutic, right? But I just want you to get that idea, right? Or naturopathic, right? Maybe we'll say naturopathic. Right. That's going to be level 6. And then level 7 is where we will get, we'll dance around. We'll dance around in the subatomic. We'll dance around in the subatomic space a little bit from time to time. Right? From time to time, we'll get into what makes the mitochondria go. Right? And, that's where we kind of get into subatomic quantum mechanics, or the underworld of Osiris. And so we're going to take, or we have already, I just haven't hit the end button yet, right? I'm still painting the picture, right? But I'm just giving y'all the understanding of what's coming. Like it's like the Fantastic Four. Galactus is on the way, right? Galactus is on the way, and there's no way to stop it. Kitchen Chemistry 2 is gonna destroy whole ecospheres. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so we're gonna do over 100 individual foods, and we're gonna break each one down 7 levels deep. 7 levels deep. And we're gonna have the beauty conversation, right? How beauty saves lives, how beauty extends lives, how ugliness kills, right? All of those good things. But then we also have, our inspiration days, right? And so we're also working on that. So far we're looking at, having inspired days from December 22nd all the way up to January 1st. Then we have January 20th, February 14th, March 17th, March 22nd, April 1st, April 22nd to the 26th, the second Sunday in May, May 27th, June 1st to the 10th, June 3rd, June 19th, June 24th, June 30th to July 13th, July 13th, July 22nd, August 1st, August 28th, September 1st, September 13th, October 1st, October 11th, October 21st to the 30th, November 1st, November 11th, November 27th, December 27th, and then, like I said, December 22nd to the 1st of January. That's going to be, so the holy days, is still we're still working on those. But obviously, all of those days will have suggested study, right? And we'll be building rituals as we go along, new rituals, right? So you don't have to, so that Thanksgiving is not, we don't have to hear about Christopher Columbus. We don't have to debate whether Jesus was a white guy or a black guy on, December 25th, or have to listen to people tell us that Jesus is a story from Dionysus and Horus, and we don't, we've had all those conversations, right? We know that Valentine's Day is Wolf Day, but we also know that Wolf Day is a day that was originally designed to celebrate Anubis, and not necessarily a blood-soaked orgy of chaos and, carnal entertainment, right? So just all of these different things over the years that we've, it's time to make real. It's time to activate, right? It's time to activate. We've been through a long period of time that started probably before I was born of self-reflection and study, just as a group of people, as a, many different groups of people saying that, we lost our culture. We have to refine our culture. We're deep into the history books and archaeology and all of this different historic research and genetic DNA, haplotype, all of this different stuff, right? To study dead cultures that may have been attached to us, may not have been, may have been, may not have been. But respectfully, all of those cultures are dead, right? The Olmecs are dead, right? That's the Olmecs are gone. The Mayans are gone, right? The Kemetic people have been gone. The Kemetic people have been gone. They're gone, right? So what it is that we should have the understanding of in our mind is, right, if we're going back and studying historical frameworks, references, sciences, and all of those things, it's so that we can make them live again, right? So that we can pump new life into them, so that we can reinvigorate them, resurrect them, right? And that hasn't happened yet, right? That is what we're doing with inspiration, literally and figuratively. That's literally what inspiration is, to breathe life into, right? So that's what we're doing. Right? Think about it. There are folks that have millionaires and billionaires backing them, and they are finding traces of ancient DNA, and they are bringing the whole Jurassic Park thing. The Jurassic Park thing is not a myth. It's not fake. It's not fiction. So, like when the last Jurassic Park movie hit the theaters, right? Me and my babies, we watched the movie, and I had to explain to them the whole Jurassic Park thing, right? Because Jurassic Park, like, they keep making new Jurassic Parks, but they're like a weird collection of movies because they never really have A-level cast. It's never an A-level cast. And they're always like dark and not fully funded. They're not in major Hollywood studios, but yet somehow they're getting like major Hollywood promo once the movie's done. The movies look like high quality B movies, but they get A-level promo when the movie's being released, right? So I had to explain to them, like, Hollywood is anything but like innocent. Hollywood is anything but entertainment. Hollywood is about teaching the masses. It's about indoctrination, right? So with the Jurassic Park series of movies, I just wanted them to understand, like, this, they keep repeating this movie because this is a thing. Just like the F1 movie with Brad Pitt and the boy from Snowfall, like they're trying to get a lot of money off that, right? Because they're bringing those high dollar races to the States. So, they got clothes and watches and all kinds of merchandise for racers now. They're trying to make racers a part of the American sports legend pantheon of, people that are worshipped, right? Earthly gods, right? So that's what that's about. The F1 movie with Brad Pitt is about introducing the high dollar race car thing to the States. And, but Jurassic Park is about getting people's mind open so that when they get this thing a little bit more perfected, they can monetize it and get their money back, because they've been spending billions of dollars on, bringing back extinct animals, right? And so they are perfecting the science of bringing back extinct animals at a rapid speed. So I just want you to understand, our minds, our conscious awareness, like, it has to expand past popular conversation, right? Because as everybody's focused on AI and demonizing AI, remember that a body and a mind come together. A mind, a spirit, right? A conscious entity, a sentient entity needs a body to work through, right? So it is very interesting, as AI is developing, they're also developing a science to create and bring back extinct vessels, bodies, right? So, I'll leave that there, right? I'll leave that there. But if you Google around, jump around, you'll see that they're bringing back extinct animals already. They've already brought back some wolves. Interesting that they chose to focus in on wolves. I'll leave that there also. We don't have to go any further. But yeah, they brought back some extinct wolves already and some other stuff. And so that's a thing. So when we look at a culture controls the development of vessels and minds, right? Separately or together, the culture, the environment that they're in, right? So that we have to get deeper into that conversation. But in that pocket, we got to work on our culture, right? At the same time as we're learning, we have to be creating, right? So that's how our syllabus is going to work. That's how our syllabus is going to work. That's the purpose of what we're doing. You guys now have the responsibility to bring people into the culture as we're developing the culture. See, we're going to be bringing people into a culture. Most people don't realize they don't even actually have a culture, right? You don't even have a culture, right? You on July 4th and Christmas, and you have pop culture, right? That's pretty much what that is, right? Because that's not Christian. So don't believe like, oh yeah, well, Christmas is a Christian holiday. Not exactly. Not exactly. Because if we went around the world, right, and I've done some of this stuff in small numbers, but if we went around the world, I'm fairly certain that most of the people that celebrate Christmas do not have the same religious beliefs. And most of them do not celebrate the nativity story of Christ on Christmas. Most of the people celebrating Christmas don't even know that story. They don't even know. If you could give them a Bible and ask them to find it, they wouldn't be able to tell you that. They wouldn't even be able to find it. So it's really just pop culture. It's really just pop culture at this point. It's popular culture. Most people give gifts on Christmas. That's what Christmas is. It's not about religion. It's just gift giving. And depending on your age, it might just be gift receiving, right? That's what that is. Thanksgiving has nothing to do about Indians, Native Americans, Christopher Columbus. No matter how people want to make it seem, it has nothing to do with that. Thanksgiving now is about eating a lot of food. It's like a buffet holiday, period. For some people, they look forward to it for cooking. Some people look forward to it for eating. Some people look forward to Thanksgiving for having the day off and being able to catch back up with family members. That's the pop culture of Thanksgiving. Halloween has nothing to do with any spirits. Halloween it's just free candy. It's just free candy and costumes. That's all it is. It's nothing to do with any spirits or demons this or witch and this. It's just candy and costumes. That's it. Right? July 4th has nobody cares. Nobody even 1% of people that celebrate July 4th could tell you the story of Independence Day. Like they'd be like, "Oh, ask them what's Independence Day." Most people don't even know Independence Day is July 4th. You're gonna get half the people ain't even gonna be able to put those two together. Oh, July 4th. Oh, wait a minute. Independence Day is on July 4th. Oh yeah, that's crazy. Oh yeah. Oh, I know what that is. Yeah. So that's when America got its independence. Okay, yeah. Ask them the story. Crickets. Nobody doesn't know that story. Nobody cares about that. You grilling Franks, burgers, and you lighting fireworks. That's it. If you don't have a swimming pool, you try and go to somebody's house with a swimming pool, or y'all trying to have a cookout in a park with a swimming pool. That's July 4th. It's pop culture, right? So people really don't have, culture is very eclectic. It's very separatist. It's very individualized, and most people that think they have a culture, you don't. You don't. There's only a very small groups of people that actually have culture, period. All Muslims don't share a culture. All Catholics don't share a culture. All Christians don't share a culture. The only people that are really pretty universal with their culture are like the Jewish people. The Jewish people are very universal with their culture. Sunni Muslims, oddly enough, there's some Catholic groups that's pretty uniform, like some Baptists. There's some groups, but it's not like it's not a large thing. And Black folks, you can forget about that. So you can forget about that. However you want to name yourself, Black, no, doesn't exist, right? Just pop culture. Because if you have holidays, but those holidays don't have a teaching associated with it and don't have a ritual associated with it, there has to be a ritual and there has to be a teaching. And the ritual and the teaching have to go together. The ritual and the teaching have to go together, even if they don't make sense to anybody else on earth. They don't have to. They just have to make sense to the people in the culture. And so pop culture happens when there's so much people coming into the culture that are practicing the rituals of the culture, but they don't know the stories. They don't know the traditions. They don't know the origins of the holidays, the rituals, or the stories. It just becomes pop culture. And that happens to the best of them. Happens over time. But the stronger culture, the science embedded in the stories associated with the rituals is so strong that just like you can take ancient DNA and recreate an animal with the right technology, you can create you can bring back culture from a narrative, because the narrative encapsulates the ritual, and the ritual and the narrative allows you to extrapolate the science, the living science, right? Which links you, the body, the mind, the vessel, to the solar system and the universe around you, right? So, yeah, I just thought it was important that we had this little small, dense conversation, because it's another level of understanding to what it is that we're doing with inspiration, right? With our understanding of quantum entanglement and the Christ complex, and like what it is that we're Karast, right? What it is that we're doing and what we're building and creating, right? So it's much bigger than us, right? It's much bigger than us. So make sure you have your books. Tomorrow will be our first night doing the degree. I mean, tonight is our first night. This is comedic study, right? Just in case you didn't know, this is comedic study, right? You're learning the science of the science. You're learning the science of the science right now in this conversation. Like, wait, didn't he just, the same way these folks are able to take ancient DNA from animals and reanimate. See, Hollywood will let you know. You just got to pay attention sometime. Hollywood will tell you some stuff. Because there was a scary movie back in, it was supposed to be scary. It wasn't really scary, but back in the days it was something. But it was called The Reanimator. You know what I'm saying? And fast forward, we're here, right? But yeah. So, and that's been a science in certain cultures, Haitian, some Haitian cultures, some African cultures, right? Even the Jewish culture still has those traditions intact in terms of the golem, right? So, but they're doing that now. They're really taking extinct animals and bringing them back to life. So it's amazing, because you understand the DNA, right? That beautiful winding staircase, right? That beautiful winding staircase of knowledge, of information, right? That library, right? Stories, information, right? So there's genetic stories and information encoded in the DNA, and you can take those stories and bring back whole animals, right? But there are also stories that our ancestors left us, and we can take those stories and bring back relevant aspects of culture.
This is why you have to go to Amazon and get the book, Rich Abs, Poor Abs, now.